Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Akil. I'm going to try to do this very quick. I'm not using iMovie again, but I'm just going to give you guys my review of Wonder Woman 1984. Just got back from seeing it. Again, it's pretty late here. I don't usually do this, but I'm going to right now as tomorrow's Christmas Eve and have to do some stuff tomorrow. But anyway, jumping right into this pre-rating score, it was a good movie. Just kind of sad because I wanted it to be better than the first one, if not on the same level. Um, Story basically takes place in the 80s, even though it didn't really feel like that. Um, we have Barbara Minerva, who's a friend of Diana's in the movie, and they kind of work in the same field in the Smithsonian and all that. And eventually, they find themselves in the hands of Maxwell Ward, who's this guy that is, I wouldn't say a hotshot, but like really telling people that you can have anything you want if you do if you like come to me and all that type of stuff. And eventually he gets this crazy power which I won't spoil. And stuff happens and eventually, Steve Trevor somehow finds his way into the story and it gets all crazier from there. So that's really all I can say without spoiling anything because again, I don't like to spoil in my reviews. I try to keep it brief. I know sometimes I talk a bit too much for the plot, but I still really don't want to spoil it. So yeah, and it's a superhero movie, and superhero movies tend to have spoilers. So this is all I can say for it. Positives right off the bat, acting overall was pretty damn good. See, Gal Gadot is great. Chris Pine great. Kristen Wiig was surprisingly really good as the villain. Pedro Pascal, he was on and off at times for me, to be honest, which is kind of sad, but he was still pretty good. Yeah, the supporting characters they were fine. Another thing I really like was the music. Hans Zimmer's music is phenomenal. This is probably one of his best scores in a while actually. Man of Steel is obviously better though in the DCU in terms of like his DCU scores, but this score is actually really good. And there's some homages to like other DC movies which I won't spoil, and that's great. There was even a certain song from somewhere you might recognize in a certain scene that I won't spoil, and I'll tell you. Let's see if you can figure out what that is when you watch a movie. It's instrumental, just saying. But anyway, that's really good. I was like, oh, I recognize this piece of music. And then another thing that really stood out to me was the action. The action was really, really good. I really liked the fight scenes and all that. I thought that was all really, really well done. So yeah, it was just the acting, the action, and the music that really stood out to me. Negatives, unfortunately, the tone was on and off at times. I felt it was like a bit too comedic and a bit too serious at times. I was like, okay, this is a bit too much. Um, Another thing that stood out to me was the pacing. Pacing was really, really terrible at times. I was like, oh, this is such a draggy film in my mind. I'm like, let's just keep going, and it didn't. It just kept staying on the same scene. I was like, okay, we get it, move on, and it really annoyed me. And that's the biggest thing I have to say about this movie is that the movie does feel long, and I can feel the 2.5 hour runtime, and it did feel like it, even though it's technically not because of his credit, but still, even then, it did feel much longer than the first film when I think about it. And finally, I felt like some things didn't really make sense, and yeah, but really the final negative I do want to talk about is that it did feel like it didn't take place in the 80s. It felt a bit too modern at times for me. I was like, what was the point of this 80s thing? It was such like a gimmick. It didn't really feel like that at all. I was like, okay, we get it. There's no phones and all that, but still, it didn't feel like it took place in the 80s. So that's what I could really say for the film. Overall, 7 out of 10 for Wonder Woman 1984. Yeah, sorry guys. It's not the best superhero movie or something like that you're probably expecting it to be. It's definitely a film that you can go take your family to go see and all that type of stuff. If you got kids, whatever, if you're watching this, you got kids, take them to go see it. But apart from that, yeah, it's good, not great, sadly. First one's definitely better. I enjoyed the story more in the first one, but the villain story in this one were definitely a little more developed. So yeah, overall, good solid superhero film. Definitely enjoyed myself watching it. But be prepared, it is a long one. So hope you guys enjoyed this review, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know in your comments in the comments down below how do you feel about Wonder Woman 1984. My name's Akil, otherwise known as the comic director, and I'm signing out.